Hello, my name is Franklin D. Roosevelt. I was the 32nd President of the United States. I was born in Hyde Park in New York on June 30th, 1882. I grew up on a large farm and could ride a horse well enough to go on tours of the estate with my father when I was only 4 years old. I was homeschooled and had 8 different private tutors. One time I pulled a prank on Governor Miss Reinberg. I slipped into her bedroom and spooned a double dose of effervescent, something that would cause bubbling into her chamber pot. When she used it in the middle of the night, the powder began to bubble and hiss, and she woke up to the household to ask what was wrong. When I was 14, my parents sent me to Groton, an exclusive private school in Massachusetts. I went to Harvard in 1900 and got a BA degree, or Bachelor's of Arts, in history in only 3 years. I studied law at New York Columbia University. When I passed the bar examination in 1907, I left school without taking a degree. For the next 3 years, I practiced law with a prominent New York City law firm. I first entered politics in 1910 and was elected to the New York Senate as a Democrat. In 1905, I married Anna Eleanor Roosevelt, my 5th cousin. We had 6 children together, but sadly only 5 lived out of infancy. One of them was Anna James, Elliot, Franklin Jr., and John. In the 1932 presidential election, I defeated Republican incumbent Hubert Hoover in one of the largest landslide victories in all of U.S. history. During my presidency, I faced the greatest crisis in all of American history since the Civil War, the Great Depression. This is when I introduced my New Deals program, that I temporarily closed the banks. Then, me and a special section of Congress worked during the first 100 days to pass recovery legislation, which set up alphabet agencies such as the AAA, or Agricultural Adjustment Administration, to support farm prices, and the CCC, or Civilian Conservation Corps, to employ young men. These programs were regulated and revived the economy and stock market. Though my new programs caused unbalanced budgets and increased spending, which caused some people to speculate the New Deal, I still got reelected in 1936, 1940, and 1944, making me the only president to serve more than 2 terms. In March of 1941, I signed the Lead-Lease Bill to aid nations at war with Germany and Italy. On December 7th, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, bringing the United States into the war. The next day, I delivered the Day of Infamy speech before Congress and asked for a formal declaration of war against Germany. But before my presidency and Senate time, in 1921, while I was on vacation in Canada, I was diagnosed with polio. I remained paralyzed for the rest of my life, but did not give up my political career. After my diagnosis, I took myself out of the public eye, and during these years, I learned how to make myself walk short distances, wearing metal leg braces. After a few years, I returned to politics. I wanted to keep up my use out of the sight of public, so nobody would disqualify me from a high position. I created one of the first ever modern rehabilitation centers in Georgia, where I received treatment in 1938. I founded the National Foundation for Infertility Paralysis, and on the March of Dimes led to the development of polio vaccines. In the 1950s, the Salk vaccine ended the polio threat. But did you know that I was the first sitting president to fly in a plane, and also the first sitting president to travel abroad during a time when the United States was at war? My most famous quote comes from my 1933 inaugural address, which is, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." I sadly passed away on April 12th of 1945 in Warm Springs, Georgia, marking the end of my career.